Hi, Dr. Julie Gilbert here, coming at you live from Oregon Weight and Wellness, and Rachel from Whole Life Health. She will be joining us shortly. We've been talking a lot about diet mentality versus lifestyle mentality, and how the one is restrictive and the other one can be very freeing. And I wanted to talk a little bit more about that today. I know we're not trying to beat a dead horse, but it's good to hear good ideas over and over and over again to help them kind of sink in. But, lifestyle is really about becoming your own expert in your health. So it is learning enough to be what's the word that we use a lot today? Empowered. There you go. Empowered to choose your own constraints. And so it's not a free for all. It is freedom, but it's not a free for all. It's really learning what your body can and can't handle, how it does best, what leads to health, and what leads to harm specifically for you. And that's one of the questions I think that we can kind of frame our choices around. Does this lead to my health, benefit my health, or does this harm my health? And maybe that will help me make a decision about whether it's wise or not for me. So some people who already have a little bit more compromise in their health, for example, maybe they have pre-diabetes or insulin resistance, their body's kind of telling them that they do need to be a little more constrained, or they need because if you don't, choose to be a little more constrained in, let's say, decreasing the processed food in your diet, your body, your health will eventually say, yeah, you can't do that anymore. But anyway, so a lifestyle does take commitment. Choosing a healthy lifestyle takes commitment. It takes even so I'm going to do this even though it's hard, even though it's counterculture, even though it's going against the grain, even though everybody else is going to McDonald's or buying the pizza or whatever. It takes some discipline, some proactive planning, some learning, a lot of learning. Here comes Rachel. And Rachel, we were just talking about that choosing a lifestyle versus diet mentality is choosing your own constraints, right? Versus a diet, like a fad diet, puts all the constraints on you and you have to live within those, versus you're choosing your own constraints. You're choosing them. Yeah. And I was saying that one of the questions around that we can frame our choices with is, does it lead me toward health? Does it benefit my health? Or is it moving me away from health or my goals? Yeah.
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 I like that. I really like that, because it's so funny. We keep going with this diet versus lifestyle mentality. And when we first started it, we thought it was just like in this little box that we were thinking of.
Right.
And really, I mean, you can use it to apply to so much. And that's why it's just a powerful reframing, right? When we're really structuring, I can even ask myself during the day, now hold on, was that diet mentality, or was that my new lifestyle mentality? And really apply it to anything. So this lifestyle mentality is choosing which limitations, which constraints, what boundaries, what guidelines, what guide rails what's my backyard fence?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it is, rather than, I need it now, which is, diet mentality. Oh, shed 30 pounds in 30 days. If you just, you see those signs on corner.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
They're everywhere.
Yeah. So it helps, it teaches you to be patient with a process.
Mm.
Yeah.
That makes me think of critical thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Most of us would probably like to say that we are critical thinkers. We are likely critical thinkers in our jobs. We analyze, we collect data, we make decisions. And but with these types of, in these categories, especially with diet, suddenly many of us, and I included, have thrown all of my critical thinking out the window, all of my wisdom, or in my intentional thought process, the way that I approach, do I do this or not do this? I didn't jump into my marriage with Peter, from a poster on the side of the road,
Right.
But,
right. So how's my health going to, how can I expect my health?
Yeah, go ahead.
No. Yeah. There's something as big as my health. There's something as consuming as my health. How can I expect a quick fix? Yeah.
And something as complicated as my health.
And complicated,
and nuanced. And if I know I've struggled in the past and kind of different things didn't work, then why am I allowing myself to be convinced by that 30-day thing? I mean, it's because it's human nature and it's brilliant marketing, right? They've got
Oh, they're so good.
They're so good. I mean, truly, this is psychology. They're using this science of psychology, right? But when we think of it like in the terms of diet versus lifestyle mentality, it suddenly puts it into perspective. Like, oh, where's my critical thinking here? What's the intentionality? What am I choosing, rather than just kind of being swept away by some quick fix or social media blitz?
Right. Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. If it sounds too good to be true.
Usually it is. Yeah. And the unfortunate part is that sometimes these things are true at first, or they do get fast, quick results from something very restrictive and very kind of crazy or drastic, these drastic measures. But we blind ourselves to that because we're like, but it's going to get me where I want to go, not thinking about the consequences on the other side. If I do this to my body and lose 30 pounds in 30 days or whatever, what are the consequences to my heart, my mind, my psyche, my body, my metabolism?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So, well, the other thing is that what the lifestyle mentality, I think lifestyle in general, really, as far as guardrails, as far as boundaries, it spills over from just what am I eating or not eating.
Yeah.
The sleep, movement, all that thing. And it really, goes upwards to my, my critical thinking, like you said, so that I don't get blown away. I'm not blown away by every wind of, new thing that's going out there. Try this, try that. And then I'm also not, I have a foundation of these, the pillars of lifestyle, so that I don't get thrown off by stressors that come my way. And I can think of the biggest stressor for all of us right now.
Yes.
I think, at least the people I'm talking to.
I would imagine in the US.
In the United States.
Yeah.
The people is this upcoming election.
Yeah. Right. This is a big one. This is a big one that has the potential to throw someone's otherwise healthy habits and lifestyle, and they're on track. They're on their journey. They're doing their life, and perhaps trying to make some really nice, healthy changes. This has the potential, if we let it, to. It's like when someone trips your feet, like it just
right? Yeah, clips you in your knees.
Yeah, clips you in the knees. And it's not a stumble. This is typically a fall flat on your face. This is what this has potential. We've seen it. Right. We've seen it in past elections.
Yeah. So what do we do?
What do we do? Well, if we
Mm.
apply diet versus lifestyle mentality,
Mhm.
let's kind of riff on that a little bit, right? If we're going through an election year, and we apply the diet mentality construct that we just described, then what does that look like? What does that mean?
Mhm.
What comes to your thoughts?
Well, I mean, I guess it means for me that 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 it's even more important now to double down on my rhythms, my rules for myself, for making sure I'm getting my good sleep, quality, not staying up extra, watching every last newsreel or whatever.
Right.
Um, right. Being more attentive to the putting my phone to bed, yeah, or putting my television to bed, being even more attentive to that,
Mhm.
so that I don't let that suck me in and then derail my
Mhm.
decisions the next day. Because for me personally, it starts with a good night's sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Hmm. Starts with a
And
good night's
what we go to bed thinking about, we typically
sleep.
ruminate on during the night, and we will
Hmm.
wake up typically thinking on those
Hmm.
things. And man, you rinse and repeat that a few nights or a few weeks in a row, and we're not just talking about leading up to the election, but the weeks following, you know?
Hmm. Right.
And then
Yeah.
that jumps right into the holiday season, which is a really busy
Right.
time anyway.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and you mentioned the mental mindset of what am I guarding here? And you talked about really tangible ways to do that, like guarding my sleep, protecting myself from too much social media or TV or news, in ensuring that you get a good night's sleep. And that is that starts with an intentionality and a critical mindset. What do I want from this election year? What do I want from the news? Am I looking for my information and data from the most
Mm.
trusted source? How does it make me feel when, right? I mean, we get swept off because things are just coming at us and we just kind of, you're scrolling and you're looking at your friend's pictures of her baby, and then all of a sudden something scrolls in that you didn't ask for, you didn't
Right.
look for,
Yeah.
and is likely not helpful and not
Mhm.
life giving and potentially not even true
Yeah.
or a half truth, but it just scrolls right in, and then we
Mhm.
get sucked in, and suddenly your brain is thinking on things that you didn't ask for or invite in. So it's really the intentionality of what will I let in? How
Mhm.
will I let it in what increments, right? In
Yeah.
what doses, and from where? And I think that takes, that mindfulness, the awareness. It's not easy.
Mhm.
Things are coming
Right.
out everywhere.
Oh, yeah. It isn't easy because
Yeah,
there these algorithms, I mean, the people behind the algorithm, they know our psychology. They
right,
just really do.
right.
They got us. They got
Yeah,
us. So,
yeah.
mhm.
And I wanna bring up something that I experienced recently, and I won't be too specific, but it brought up an example, of a way that I had to actually talk it out with my husband. He helped me, logically and from a reasonable sound mind kind of like break down what was happening so that I could move forward. And
Mm.
it was a post from someone who I know and like on Facebook. And at the outset, it looked loving and kind and respectful and um, like coming from the best of intentions. But but it bothered me. It rubbed me the wrong way.
Mhm.
And it
Mhm.
kind of made me feel guilty, ashamed, worried, um, uh-oh, questioning my own values, ethics, more. I'm like, right, it got me spinning. And I was like, what is happening? This
Yeah.
post seems like it's fine. And what we realized is it was a manipulation. And I don't think the
Mm.
person posted it purposefully to manipulate, but the language manipulated this the concept, right? Of she was trying to put something out there that was helpful, and it wasn't. But I thankfully had the time and the
Mhm.
wherewithal, like the thought to go, hold on, why is this bothering me so badly? Why
Right.
does this hit me? And I had to stop. And I literally, I mean, we talked about it for a good 15 or 20 minutes. It was not a quick fix. And I think
Mhm.
that in our days, these things happen. They're like, pew, pew, these are assaults, right? On our hearts and our minds. And we just kind of have to oh no, and we stuff it because we got to move on.
Mhm.
And so unless I have time to go through a news post or listen to something, and then I have the time afterwards to critically analyze and say, what was true? What was not true? How do I feel about it? What does this change from, right? I mean, I feel like that's the only way I'm going to go through this, not being just sort of like swept away.
Right. So what I'm hearing you say is that if you're choosing to be on social media, watch the news or something, you have to process that. You have to build in time to process that. Otherwise, the danger is it can suck you in a direction you don't want to go. You were never intending to go there, which can derail the next thing,
Yes.
for you. And
Yeah.
so what I'm hearing for you is if I'm going to be on social media, then I'm going to have some time to be mindful. Is it true? Those things that you mentioned. Yeah. So that's good. That's good. I don't think most of us go in kind of just with no filter, with no, I don't know, a plan,
Right.
no
Because
strategy. Yeah.
I mean, we've never really been taught that or thought we had to.
Right.
The news was given to us, the 5 o'clock news, right? It
Yeah.
was given to us. We accepted it. And then that was it. I don't think the news has never been the news since,
Right.
I don't
Yes.
know,
It's
since the
for a
70s,
while. For a
for a
while now.
long
Yeah.
time. It's
Yeah.
not been that cut and dry. And I think
Mhm.
to mitigate stress and to really honor yourself. I mean,
Mhm.
people, if you're listening, I'm pretty sure you want to get through this election series honoring yourself, your values. You want to vote the way you intend to, based on um, all the things that make up your life, your value systems, your beliefs. All these things. And uh, unless we are critically thinking and evaluating and asking those hard questions afterwards, I find myself sometimes repeating something I've heard, and I don't even know where I heard it.
Mhm.
Right?
Right.
And then I'm like, hold on, do I actually believe that?
Believe
And if
it.
I do I even know where this came from? Do I
Yeah.
even know if this is true or not?
Yeah.
And then so and I think that when we can approach with this plan in place, like you mentioned, it's
Mhm.
kind of like a going in with a plan.
Mhm.
Now suddenly I feel solid. I feel
Mhm.
grounded and stable. Like I know what I'm doing. I kind of feel like I've got a tool belt of how I'm
Mhm.
going to do this. I'm
Mhm.
not feeling weak or kind of like vulnerable. And
Mhm.
and I know on the other side, I'm going to walk away feeling confident in
Mhm.
in in what I decided, or
Yeah.
seeking wise counsel or
Mhm.
another wise outlet to get
Right.
more
Yeah.
information. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's all tied together, isn't it? Because,
Mhm.
you know, we just know that our bodies function best with, solid sleep, right?
Right. Number one.
High quality sleep, high
Mhm.
quality food,
Mhm.
movement throughout our day, and managing our stress.
Yeah.
So and that's not a passive thing.
Right.
It's a very active, proactive, intentional thing.
Yes.
And so, if I'm not going to get stressed out by this election season or the aftermath, I have to go in with some solid lifestyle foundation.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. And without it, I think we know what happens. We've done it before, where we go through a holiday season without a plan. Woo, how did that work out for you? Right? We've gone through election seasons before where it was like, woof, you don't.
Mhm.
So, what if you did it differently this year? What if you started to kind of reframe your thinking patterns, your approach, and had more of a plan? And really, like you mentioned, that with the lifestyle foundations
Mhm.
firmly planted.
Mhm.
If I'm tired, I haven't slept well, and I've eaten some garbage today, I'm not likely going to take any newsreel or social media post very well. I'm
Right.
not likely going to be
Right.
disciplined of mind, body, and spirit, and have
Mhm.
wisdom readily available from that
Right.
stance.
Or if my neighbor or coworker or colleague brings something up that's controversial and I haven't slept well, eaten well, moved my body, I'm not
Yeah.
likely to respond well.
Absolutely. And then what does that do? Just perpetuates the stress
Right.
within you. With now it's been put back to them. It
Right.
kind of
Yeah.
that ripple effect we talked about.
Yeah.
It
Right.
ripples out. They're going to go home and, and it all of a
Yeah.
sudden,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. So
I mean,
we almost have a responsibility here.
I absolutely believe that fundamentally, and I'm not afraid to say it. I listen, if we want change in this world, and if we want change in our health and in the way that this world functions, why don't we take stronger stances and say, this has fundamentally got to be our responsibility. I need to take my responsibility for what I put out in the world, how I impact others, and and therefore that means my foundation and a plan. And specifically what we're talking about is this election season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So good. Okay. Phew.
Hey, you guys. Whew. Yeah.
Yeah. Rachel, on a lighter note.
Yes. Let's go lighter. But one of our foundations, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
What's for dinner?
What's for dinner? So tonight is the Ondondo fundraiser.
Oh,
Yes. So we're going to a fundraiser for the nonprofit for Senegal. It's a fantastic organization. And this year they are bringing in authentic Senegalese food with a specific chef, a Senegalese chef. Yes. So not just a catering company who's kind of whipping up some dishes, but actually with a chef who has his own cookbooks and things. So I'm super excited. They have an entire plant-based, they have regular, and they are also catering 100% to the plant-based crowd. Yeah. So
I'm picturing okra. I'm picturing peanuts. I'm picturing a lot, maybe some root vegetables, cassava. Yeah. So anyway, that's what I'm picturing.
I'm sure. And I'm wondering if the ponio, that grain that the Senegalese use, we've talked about a little bit off camera, but I'm wondering if they'll include that local native grain.
Well, you'll have to fill us in next time.
I will.
And I'm going to end of the year. I've been part of a backyard garden community. I don't know if I said this. I probably haven't, but yeah. So I've been part just because my garden's not so great. But anyway, so they're having their end of the year kind of get together, and everyone's going to bring a little something, and I'm going to make some. Well, it's not for my garden, but I am going to bring some hummus and some of those seed crackers that are so good that I make. From flaxseed and almond flour, and So people will be bringing, the abundance from their garden and sharing. And so that'll be fun. That'll be fun. Yum. What I would love to do is, not everybody can garden, doesn't have the time or space, but a garden can produce a tiny little, it's amazing how much food comes from a small area, and it just blows my mind all the time. So what I would love to do is get the food, the overflow to the people that can't grow it. And so, and the people that we know, that we interact with, our clients and things like that. So part of this is hopefully connecting with those farmers that do have green thumbs. Yes. And are really good at what they do. Yeah. And getting in with people that want to learn or, don't have time or space. So I think that would be a great next, very practical thing for Oregon Weight and Wellness. But
I love that idea. I know you and I talked about that a bit. It's almost like a CSA box,
right,
connected with Oregon Weight and Wellness. I mean, gosh, how amazing would that be? So everybody stay tuned for more information on that. Okay. And speaking of that, the Fill Your Pantry event is coming up at the Fairgrounds, the Benton County Fairgrounds, November. I believe it's the 3rd. November 3rd, and I want to say it's like from 12 to 3. And this is where you can go, and farmers are bringing their abundance of crop, but particularly the crops that are shelf stable, that will last in a basement or a cellar, root vegetables, their grains, their beans, things like that. We went last year. There was so many wonderful products.
It was great. Yeah. Well, November 3rd. Okay. I'm going to do it again. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. All right. Thanks so much, Rachel. We'll talk to you later.
Bye, everybody.